This is Robert Hatton. This is The Encourager. Towards the end of the Second World War, the Allied forces on the Western Front, they organised an operation which they hoped would shorten the war by a number of months. They wanted to capture all the bridges that went from Holland across the River Rhine and some other rivers so that they could get into Germany where it was least fortified. There were a number of bridges that they wanted to take, and the last one was a bridge in a city called Arnhem. And some people said this is a bridge too far, this is just one bridge too far. And indeed, when the operation took place, at the beginning it was a great success. They even captured this bridge in Arnhem, but they couldn't hold it. And the German forces came and they took it back. And so this operation, it was only a partial success. Now let's go to our biblical story today. The storm has now calmed. Jesus has quietened the waves and he's rebuked the wind. And in clear and calm weather, they arrive on the other side of the Sea of Galilee. Perhaps the disciples were wondering, why on earth did Jesus want to come here? There's so many other towns and villages in Galilee that they need to visit. But no, Jesus wanted to go onto the opposite side of the sea. You see, in Galilee was also quite a strange place. I've mentioned before that the people in Judea in the south, they look down upon Galilee as being a real province. The Jewish people live there, but there's quite a number of heathen, pagan people. There's quite a lot of idol worship was going on. But in the other side of the Sea of Galilee, in Decapolis, which means the area of the 10 cities, that was completely pagan. That was completely filled with idol worshippers. Why on earth has Jesus come here? These people are not open to our message. These people probably don't want to hear the gospel. But when Jesus arrived there and he stepped out of the boat, there was a man who came running, I suppose, running down the hill as fast as he could. And he looked like he was a very violent person, and he was coming straight to Jesus. Probably they thought when he got to Jesus, he would knock him down, knock him out or something. And then the disciples, it would have been their turn. Why on earth have we come to Decapolis? But as this man comes to Jesus and he's just a couple of meters away with him, he throws himself on the floor and he starts to worship him. This is the words are used there. It says he fell to his face, but it's the same word as what is used for worship. He began to worship him. Out of his mouth, words are coming that confess that he is the Son of God. But it's actually a complaint. Because why have you come? Have you come earlier to deal with us, you Son of God? And what was happening? This man, he came from the cemetery. He was a guy who lived on the cemetery, and he'd been so violent that the people had chained him. They'd made chains and they bound him with chains, but he used to break these chains. He was overcome with such a supernatural power. I suppose he would be violent, and he'd wounded people, and he'd also probably damaged many a lot of property. And in the end, he was living by himself on the cemetery, and he comes running down the hill to Jesus, and we find out that this man is he's been taken over by a number of evil spirits, and they began to speak to Jesus. Now, this is nothing special now for the disciples. They've experienced many times that Jesus delivered people of these evil spirits. They experienced once where Jesus just spoke a word in a synagogue, and the evil spirit left a person confessing that Jesus was the Son of God. They'd also experienced that Jesus had healed many people. They'd seen his supernatural working in many times. They'd seen him cleanse a leper. They'd even, they'd seen him heal people just by speaking a word. And then last night they saw him, he calmed the storm. and they thought they were going to die. But Jesus calmed the storm. But this is a completely, we used to say when I was little, this is a different kettle of fish. This is a different league. We're in Decapolis. And this man comes, and as Jesus speaks to him, the demons don't leave. They start a conversation with him. And Jesus asks him, he says, what's your name? And he says, we are Legion. We're called Legion because we're so many. And the legion, that was an army unit in the Roman world. It could have been as many as 7,000 soldiers. There might have been 7,000 evil spirits in and around this guy. And Jesus commanded them to go. And in the end, they do go, and they go into a herd of pigs. About 2,000 pigs are close by. And the pigs start to stampede, and they run into the lake, and they all drown. So it's now time to decide. You see, the disciples thought that this Decapolis, that was a bridge too far. It was a little bit too far to go. But oh no, Jesus has everything under control. And the people who are looking after the pigs, they come to Jesus. I mean, see, you've got to make a decision. And they had made their decision, and their decision was, we're going to reject him. And they said, Jesus, get out. Leave our country, leave our area, get back into your boat and go wherever you've come from. We don't want you here. And the man who'd been delivered, he has also made his decision. He said, Jesus, I want to follow you. Jesus, I want to be one of your disciples. And Jesus said, I don't want you to come with me. I want you to stay here. I want you to tell your friends, and I want you to tell your family all about what God has done for you, what the Lord has done for you. Share it with these people. And that's interesting, because the people in Galilee, he said, don't tell anybody. But the people in the Decapolis, everybody should know. He says, I want you to stay here. I want you to be a kind of John the Baptist. I want you to prepare the way for me, because I'll come back here, and I want everybody to know that I'm coming, and that there'll be an openness and an expectancy that I can work. So this man had made his decision as well. But the disciples are looking on, and they realize we have also got to make a decision that Jesus is Lord, not only in Galilee, but also here in Decapolis, where there's so many heathen, pagan people. God is also there. We've got to recognize his power. Decapolis isn't a city, isn't a bridge too far. Just the same as the city where you are isn't a city too far out, isn't a place, and you may be feeling it's very difficult. And I know that cities are very difficult to win, especially in Western Europe during these days. It's quite hard in some places, that we have the feeling that the ground is hard, and the hearts are hard, and the people are just rejecting. But you know, what we learn from this story is that Jesus' power is here, that our city is not a city that's just beyond the reach of the Lord, because the Lord's hand is not shortened, but he will save, he will work in your city. And let's just recognize today that the Lord is the Lord of the harvest, and that the Lord is the one who has received all power and all authority in heaven, but also on earth. And wherever we are, in whichever area we are working, we are not one bridge too far. We are right in the midst of God's working. I hope you have a good day today. God bless you. You're Robert Hatton, your encourager.